So there's this new movie over on Apple TV about pickleball. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't really care about pickleball, don't really know that much about it either, but I decided to check out the movie, and you know what? I found it to be kind of charming. Hey everybody, I'm McBride, the movie guy, and today let's talk about that pickleball comedy known as the Dink.
My name is Dusty Boyd,
You're crushing these old people, Dusty!
but most people know me as the Hammer.
How come you work for your dad teaching 9-year-olds?
He's the guy that almost beat Andy Roddick. Walk it off!
Jake Johnson stars in the new movie, The Dink. He plays Dustin the Hammer Boyd. He's a former child tennis pro, but his career never worked out. And so now he works at a local country club. So a crisis erupts, kind of a crisis, when some of the country club members request more pickleball courts. And Ed Harris plays Dustin's father. He runs the country club, and he thinks that pickleball represents everything that is wrong with society these days. So he sets out to squash the request. So pickleball and anti-pickleball forces are at odds, and they will settle this on the court. Now, Dustin would like to play and prove to his father that he can be trusted. Unfortunately, he gets hurt. And when he goes to rehab his wrist, his doctor, who's played by Ben Stiller, suggests that, pickleball might be the best way to get his wrist back in shape. So Dustin heads off to the pickleball courts, kind of on the DL, and he's going to play with some older women there. Hopefully nobody will notice, but that's where he meets Mary Steenburgen's character. And she's going to prove to be more than just a pickleball partner. She's going to prove to be a good friend. So this is a sports comedy, and I think that sports dramas lend themselves to comedy fairly well. And interestingly enough, it's about pickleball. We've seen comedies set in all sorts of worlds of sports, but I've never seen one based on pickleball. So this one feels unique. It has some new things to say. And I also love that it's not just the athletes going for it, but because, pickleball players tend to be all over the range from young to older, male to female, they get a lot of interesting characters into this movie. It works really well. Now, obviously, Johnson and Steenburgen are the two that are really driving the ship here, and I think they're both very good. Jake Johnson, really good at self-deprecating humor. He's a good, tall, athletic guy, and he's willing to make a fool out of himself. I do appreciate that. He's willing to take the pratfall. He's willing to play the straight man. He's willing to play that idiot man-child who finally has to grow up. I think it's a really good, appealing character, especially after he transforms. And don't sleep on Mary Steenburgen. Obviously, she's an older actress who's not getting as much work as she once did, but she is great here, playing the woman who is wise and knows that this kid is kind of an idiot, and she's willing to help him and mentor him and form this friendship with him. I think the two of them make a very appealing screen couple. It's a great story about friendship and pickleball as well. The other thing that works really well is the supporting cast. There are a lot of people in this movie that you've seen before, and they're given little tiny roles. Boy, they go to town with them. I already mentioned Ben Stiller as the doctor, who is more interested in this escort service than he is in actually helping his patient. Very funny, couple of scenes, hilarious stuff. I also like seeing Patton Oswalt here. He's the guy that's leading the charge for more pickleballs here, and he gives this great impassioned speech as to why we need more pickleball courts. Really nice, funny stuff. They, of course, are not alone. We get Chloe Fineman and Fortune Feimster and Chris Parnell, plus Aaron Chen, who is a stand-up comic from Down Under that you may not know. He's very funny playing the yes man as Dustin's best friend, kind of. Very funny standout performance here. And then for the final match, you need a professional athlete to come in to be the bad guy. You need someone like a professional tennis player, kind of an Andy Roddick type, and I know, let's get Andy Roddick to do it here. He's not alone. We also get John McEnroe, and the two of them are kind of playing themselves and having a blast here. Really, really fun performances from these two great athletes. So this movie is directed by Josh Greenbaum, and he's a guy that's, he's done a lot of TV, he's done a couple of movies, but I will say this. Look, he made Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, which was just a crazy movie that I kind of loved, but he also made films like Strays, which I didn't think was that funny. The Dink is obviously a step up from that. And more importantly, he's the guy who's making Spaceballs, the new one. That's right, he's making the new sequel to the Spaceballs movies. And I gotta tell you, I'm really excited to find that this director, who's gonna be in charge of making the sequel to one of my favorite movies of all time, well, he knows how to handle the comedy and do the humor and the heart as well. Good job. I'm really excited to see what he does next. So like I said, I wasn't expecting much from this movie, but I kind of thought it was delightful. I like this film, the unique topic. I like the cast, both the leads and all those great supporting performances. And I just think it works very well. It's kind of feel good. It's very funny at times. I think it's a solid surprise over on Apple TV+. I give The Dink 3 stars out of 4. Like I said, I was thrilled by how much I laughed at this movie. I kind of wish this had been put into theaters instead of just being on home streaming. I think it would have performed well. I think comedies always perform better when they're seen with a large crowd. But I think there's so many funny things here. I love the leads. I loved the supporting performances. John McEnroe shows up and he's doing tennis commentary, but he's spending the whole time looking off like he's looking into a camera over there. And people keep asking, what are you looking at? I found it very funny. Plus he's eating food, and every time the food just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Finally, he's got this pretzel that's bigger than his head. I found it very charming. Hope you did too. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget, you can subscribe and get all of my movie reviews just as soon as they drop, or check out my podcast. It's a weekly podcast called Two Movie Guys, and we get together every week and we talk about all of the week's big new movie releases. That's right. Just look for Two Movie Guys wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, so The Dink is kind of counter-programming to the big Spider-Man juggernaut in theaters, but coming up next, we've got 3 films hoping to get your attention on the post-Spider-Man week, and we'll start with a romantic comedy / kind of based on a horror movie that I also thought was kind of funny. We'll talk about One Night Only coming up next. See you then. Bye.